Hello, I'm John Feldt. Now this week, parts of the country are going to remain pretty much unchanged from the last couple weeks. The Pacific Northwest and Northern California is going to get a lot more rain than last week actually. Higher elevations will be getting a lot of snow. Over the central part of the nation, it'll yet be another dry week. There will be some light rain over spots here and there, but other areas such as parts of Texas will receive no rain for yet another week. Now it's going to be a little interesting over the southeast U.S. There's going to be a big change. That region has been very dry for a long time and well below normal rainfall has been experienced. However, this week, not just one, but there'll be two rain-producing systems moving over the area, each one bringing about an inch or two of rain. That's going to be very welcome rain. I'm going to be describing that as well as the outlook for the rest of December and into early next year. Stay tuned. Here's where the rain fell over the last week across the country. But generally speaking, the blue is only up to a ½ inch. So areas that received the blue shaded rainfall or snow is actually not all that significant. Now, the more significant rain is in yellow or red, and you can see that there were some streaks from the Ohio Valley down into parts of the southeast U.S. With the system that's moving into that area right now. Some isolated heavier amounts in Florida, and then continued activity in the Pacific Northwest. We also had some interesting rainfall producing some flash flooding over the parts of southwest U.S. Around the Phoenix area in Arizona. But other than that, it's been a pretty quiet past week. If we look at percent of normal rainfall, you can see the only areas that received above normal rainfall were Arizona and some surrounding states with that rain I mentioned, parts of the upper Midwest, Minnesota and Wisconsin, and then some streaks across Kentucky and Tennessee. But we're getting a little bit more of a patchwork look here. Now, you might remember the last couple briefings, we had widespread rain in the middle part of the country, but there was a little bit more normal or even some above normal rainfall in spots over the middle part of the nation, including parts of South Dakota, Nebraska, and Kansas. Stream flow, the most extensive below normal stream flow is indicated in brown here, the deeper shade of brown. You can see these pockets extending from parts of Kansas, Oklahoma into Texas, parts of Louisiana. But the more widespread, well below normal stream flow extends into the southeast U.S. from the Florida Panhandle, far south Alabama, through a core of drought in Georgia up into the Carolinas. And that's expanded somewhat significantly over the last 30 days. Now, during the winter months, you might know that I talk about teleconnections. Teleconnections are imbalances of atmospheric pressure, and they can give us a clue, primarily during the winter months, of where precipitation patterns might set up across the nation. And Blue Water Outlooks looks at these precipitation patterns, especially in the medium range, but also in the short and long-term range. But teleconnections can really help in that short to medium range. And we've been in this negative phase of the Arctic Oscillation recently. It's sort of pulled back up here. You can sort of see it's been alternating between strong and weak. Currently it's more weak, but it's forecast to become strong again and sort of remain in that for the rest of the year. And what that's tending to do on this bottom graph here, if you look at these dashed lines, these are generally lines of equal temperature. And they're somewhat packed together tightly over this region. And when I look at these tightly packed bands of temperature or thermal bands, that is often where the alignment of more enhanced precipitation might be. And a number of weeks ago, I mentioned that this could be favorable for more rain on over the southeast U.S., and that has beginning to occur now due to, at least in part, due to the negative phase of the Arctic Oscillation. Another way we can look at that is when we get in a negative phased Arctic Oscillation in winter, the jet stream tends to sag south. Earlier this late fall and early winter, you might remember that it was much further north. This week it is much further south, and this is a general alignment which is bringing it into the southern part of the U.S. and then into the southeast U.S. and mid-Atlantic states, as well as the Ohio and Tennessee Valley. Each one of these little dips here indicates a pocket of atmospheric energy that could enhance precipitation. Now I have the area of low pressure indicated on here, where an area of low pressure will be going this week with a cold front trailing, and that'll be the first system that'll be moving along this jet stream. So if we look at threats and trends, a couple things to point out this week, and let's start out with the area that's going to be pretty quiet, and that's going to be the middle part of the nation into the south. I put an area dry where very little or no rain will occur, but pretty much anywhere in that gray shaded area, precipitation will be below normal. There will be some rain here and there, but it's going to be pretty light. Now, where rain will be more significant will be the Pacific Northwest into Northern California. We've been alternating between these pulses of excessive rainfall and not quite as much. Last week was not quite as much, but it looks like this week will again be more active with a more focused flow of Pacific moisture into that region. So it looks to me like 2 to 4 inches of rain and snow in higher elevations can be expected. Over the northeast U.S. and the Great Lakes states and part of the mid-Atlantic, it also looks like rainfall will be more modest, maybe an inch or so, maybe even 1 to 3 inches in the northeast U.S., and then over the far northeast U.S., that'll be cold enough for snow. Now, over the southeast U.S., a very interesting pattern I've indicated with the red dashed line, where two repeated systems are going to be moving over the same area, one early this week, one later this week, and it could produce 1 to 3 inches of rain. In fact, this is the most significant rain over the southeast U.S. in quite some time. So if we look at the medium range model, it goes out to about 384 hours here. I use this just to sort of give a longer range outlook, and also it picks up some of the bigger trends. And I think you can see them very easy here. The Pacific Northwest, in Northern California, significant rainfall. The pattern in the middle part of the country of generally quiet or very dry weather. And then the northeast U.S. and the southeast U.S. More active with significant precipitation in those regions. And that takes us out through the end of the year, through the end of December. Now I want to focus just a bit here because it's been pretty quiet in the southeast U.S. What I have here is the core of drought is indicated here in the red shaded areas right here. That's the deepest drought. And I've shaded in the rainfall forecast, the heaviest rain in the dashed line. And it's going to be moving right over parts of the area, the core of drought. And that's going to be very welcome rain in that area should that occur. And you might say, well, how much would that improve it? Well, this is the amount of rain that's needed to bring the Palmer Drought Index up to a neutral range. And I've sort of indicated here, depending on the severity of drought, what percentage of rainfall the rain this week, and there will be 2, will produce. And in the very core of deepest drought, it might be 20 to 25%. And in the periphery, it could range from 30 to 50% of drought reduction. Or it should be, if you need 4 inches of rain, if you get 2 inches of rain, that's 50%. So it's going to be significant. 20% in that core of drought, 25%, that's pretty significant because this is a long-term persistent drought. So in summary, it looks like a very welcome rain for that area. So the takeaway points this week: increase of precipitation in the Pacific Northwest into northern half of California. There will be some drought relief over the southeast U.S. and then in the central and the southern U.S. that also needs quite a bit of rain. Unfortunately, it looks very dry in that region as well. Thank you for listening to the Weekly Water Outlook. I'm always open to any questions or comments. You can contact me at john@bluewateroutlook.com. I will be updating the Weekly Water Outlook again next Sunday. Thank you.